The story begins. Park Sop-chul, a tough guy known as a gangster, was doing something no one would ever expect. He was sitting quietly in a poetry class, a hobby he kept secret. Even though it didn't match his image, he loved it. One day, he boldly raised his hand. "I'll read today," he said. He stepped forward and read his poem. But it wasn't a gentle, romantic poem. It was intense, full of anger, loneliness, and pain. It reflected his life on the streets, the fights, the scars. The words made some people in the room feel nervous. But Sop-chul was proud. It was honest. It was him. Right after class, he got a call. A police officer wanted to visit his house because of the wild fight Sop-chul had been in recently. But before he could even hang up, another call came in. This time, it was from his gang boss. "Your dad told me to come to your house," the boss said. Now, strange, right? But not for Sop-chul. His father used to be a powerful man. Even the gang leaders respected him. In fact, both sides of the recent gang fight were called in by Sop-chul's dad for peace talks. At home, the two bosses sat silently. Then Sop-chul's father walked in and said, "This ends today. No more fighting. Shake hands." They didn't dare say no. When he spoke, they listened. But the police had also come earlier, not to arrest anyone, but to build a connection with Sop-chul's dad. They knew he still had influence. Meanwhile, just across the street, a woman named Kim Mi-young entered a piano academy. She was supposed to teach, but when she saw the crowded, noisy room, she hesitated. It didn't feel right. She quietly left without saying much. Maybe this wasn't the right place for her. Back at home, Sop-chul's mom looked worried. She asked, "Any news about your oldest brother?" Sop-chul sighed. That brother had caused a lot of pain. He disappeared after racking up 300 million won in debt. He left behind a child, now being raised by their mom. She still hoped he'd come home. Then, a call came in from the bank. The house might be seized. Sop-chul panicked and rushed to his dad. "Did you get that call from the bank?" he asked. His father simply replied, calm as ever, "Don't worry. I'll take care of it." Sop-chul didn't know whether to trust those words or not. But for now, he had no choice. He left, still worried, but just a little bit comforted by his father's quiet strength. And the story continues. On his way home, Sop-chul was suddenly given a task: deliver food to his younger sister. Their mother had prepared kimchi, and now it had to go to his sister's place. But when his sister called, she had a different request. "Bring the kimchi to the hospital instead. I'm still on shift," she said. Sop-chul didn't like that idea. "Just take it from your house later," he argued. But his sister, So-ki, was a nurse, kind, strict, and a bit stubborn. She also had a boyfriend, a doctor who worked at the same hospital. What Sop-chul didn't know was that this doctor was also his old friend. One day, So-ki asked her boyfriend, "I still don't understand. Why are you friends with my brother?" The doctor smiled and said, "It's because of your brother that I became a doctor. Back in school, I was bullied badly. No one helped me, except him." Meanwhile, Sop-chul made a quick stop at his workplace, an office that didn't sell products or run projects. It was a gangster headquarters. There, he met his second boss and said something unexpected. "I want to quit." The boss looked surprised. "You think this is a regular company? You can't just leave." The tension rose, and the boss made it clear this wasn't the right time to talk to the big boss about quitting. But Sop-chul insisted. He wanted out. For real. Reluctantly, the second boss said, "Fine. I'll help you, but finish your job in District 3. Do it clean. Take your severance. Leave with pride." Sop-chul agreed, but in his heart, he knew, no more violence. Not for this last job. As he stepped out, the boss whispered to himself, "That's not how we do things in our world." Later, Sop-chul called his sister. "The kimchi's downstairs. Come get it yourself." She was furious. "Now my car will smell. I was going out with a friend." At that very moment, while waiting in the hospital lobby, Sop-chul saw someone, a woman. From afar, beautiful, familiar. She looked at him too. "Apo?" she called out gently. He nodded. That woman was Mi-kyung, So-ki's friend. The three of them sat at a hospital cafe together. When So-ki asked if they knew each other, Mi-kyung smiled awkwardly. "No, we've just met," she replied. So-ki introduced her properly. She runs a YouTube channel, Ruang Kessel Menyani. Over 1,000 subscribers now. Earlier, when they met eyes again, Sop-chol thought to himself, the sun has risen again. A phrase that always reminded him, there's always hope. "You can do it, Mi-kyung," he said softly. "I'll do my best," she replied with a brave smile. Later that night, as Sop-chol drove home, he played a song from Mi-kyung's YouTube channel. A familiar melody filled the car, and memories flooded back. Long ago, when they were still in school, Mi-kyung had sung that exact song to him. She held her guitar and sang from the heart. Sop-chol had watched her quietly, completely captivated. Back then, she'd said something serious, something unforgettable. "I like you." She had even given him a book titled The Sun Has Risen. But when she sensed he might reject her, she panicked. "It's okay if you don't feel the same," she added quickly. But Sop-chol didn't hesitate. "I've liked you for a long time," he had said, honestly. Now, years later, that memory made him smile. Just a little, just enough. Elsewhere, Mi-kyung was also lost in her thoughts, remembering the painful day they were forced apart. She had been taken away in a taxi, while Sop-chol ran after her, helpless. But that was the past. Today, they had seen each other again. And somewhere deep inside, both of them knew, maybe this time, things could be different. Later that night, Sop-chol lay in bed, ready to sleep. But before closing his eyes, he played one more video from Mi-kyung's YouTube channel. Her soft voice filled the room, singing gently from her small singing room. Her music brought him peace. But then, knock knock. His young nephew came in, rubbing his eyes. "Uncle, can I sleep here?" Grandpa's snoring again. Sop-chol chuckled. "Come on in." As the boy crawled under the covers, Sop-chol asked with a teasing smile, "Hey, that girl who's singing. Mi-kyung, isn't she pretty?" The boy looked at the screen for a moment and shrugged. "She's okay, but Mom's prettier." That reply hit a soft spot. The boy then added, "Uncle, can you please find my mom soon? She still hasn't come back." Sop-chol's eyes softened. He gently patted the boy's shoulder. "I will. Just be patient." The next morning, in another part of town, Mi-kyung looked at an old photo of herself with her mother. Her heart ached, but instead of sinking into sadness, her memory wandered to a recent moment with So-ki. They had met quietly in a quiet cafe. Mi-kyung had borrowed 300,000 won from her. "I promise I'll pay it back soon," she had said. So-ki just smiled warmly. "It's okay, we're all struggling." The two women had shared more than money, they had shared stories. About hard days, about being tired, and about hope. Before they parted, So-ki encouraged her. "You've got an audition soon, right? You'll do great, just be yourself." And then, the big day arrived. Mi-kyung took a deep breath and entered the audition room. It was quiet, with only a few judges watching. She sat at the piano, hands trembling slightly, but she smiled. Her voice was beautiful, soft yet full of strength. She began to sing. The first few notes were perfect, pure and heartfelt. But then, the door opened. A group of people entered the room, more judges, maybe staff. They whispered to one another as they settled down. Mi-kyung glanced at them, and something inside her shifted. Her heart began to pound. Her hands froze above the keys. The crowd, the eyes, it all felt too familiar. Flashbacks struck her like lightning. She remembered a moment long ago, a young Mi-kyung on a stage playing piano in front of a crowd. She was laughed at, she had made a mistake, and the shame had stayed with her ever since. Now, in this audition room, that fear returned. She couldn't breathe, she couldn't play, her voice cracked, her fingers trembled, and then, silence. The song stopped. Mi-kyung lowered her gaze, blinking back tears. Not again, she thought. Why does this always happen when people are watching? The audition was over. She quietly stood, bowed politely, and walked out with heavy steps. Not just because she failed the audition, but because she had lost to her fear again. A few days later, Sok Chol visited his sister Sok Hee at the hospital, clearly with something on his mind. She noticed right away. "You want Mi Kyung's phone number, don't you?" she asked, smirking. He looked embarrassed but nodded. Sok Hee laughed. "She asked for your number first, you know." As she handed him the contact, Sok Hee added, "She's had a rough time lately. That money she borrowed, she's trying so hard." Sok Chol smiled proudly. "You did good helping her." Just as Sok Hee walked off to her shift, Sok Chol's phone lit up. A message. "Mi Kyung. Hi, I heard you asked for my number. Let's meet soon." He couldn't stop smiling. That evening, at a cozy neighborhood cafe, Sok Chol arrived early. He sat near the window, checking his reflection in the spoon. Nervous. Suddenly, Mi Kyung appeared, wearing an apron. "You work here?" he asked, surprised. "Part-time, just for now," she said with a grin. They sat down to talk after her shift ended. It started with silly compliments. "You look handsome," she said shyly. "You too, pretty as ever," he replied, just as shy. As they left the cafe and sat outside under the dim streetlight, the mood shifted. Quieter, deeper. "I'm sorry," Mi Kyung said softly. "For leaving back then, I disappeared without saying goodbye." Sok Chol looked at her. "I always thought you had your reasons." "I did," she whispered. They were silent for a moment, both lost in the memories of the past. "I thought about you often," she said. "So did I," he replied, eyes gentle. Suddenly, Mi Kyung jumped up. "Oh no, I'm going to miss my bus." "Where are you going?" Sok Chol asked. She told him. It was far, but without hesitation, he offered, "I'll drive you." A little later, in the car, Mi Kyung smiled as the wind blew her hair. "I'm always on buses. This feels like a vacation." Sok Chol chuckled. "I usually drive alone. It's nice having someone beside me." They shared a peaceful moment on the road, no music, just quiet happiness. Then they arrived, at a nursing home. "Why here?" he asked. "My mom lives here," Mi Kyung replied. "She has dementia." Sok Chol respectfully asked, "Can I visit her with you?" Inside, Mi Kyung gently encouraged her mother to answer phone calls. "So we can talk anytime, Mom." Then she turned to her mother. "This is Sok Chol. Do you remember him?" Her mother stared at him, then said, "Sapu." Sok Chol blinked. "Sapu?" He laughed after a second. "Wait, back then, every time I came to see Mi Kyung, your mom was always holding a broom." They both burst into laughter. Even Mi Kyung's mother chuckled faintly. Her memory might fade, but somehow, the broom in the boy stuck. Later, it was time to leave. "I want to go too," her mother said. Mi Kyung gently replied, "Next time, Mom. I have to work again." Back at the hospital, Sok Hee accidentally bumped into someone in the hallway. She turned and paused. That face, it looked familiar. She followed the woman quietly and saw her name tag, Go Jong Nim. Her heart skipped. Isn't she the friend of my sister-in-law? The one who ran away? A new piece of the family puzzle had just appeared. Back at the nursing home, before leaving, Sok Chol noticed a group of elderly people gathered in a corner, listening to soft piano music from a speaker. He turned to Mi Kyung. "Let's go there." She froze. "No, I can't. Just once," he said gently. "For them." She shook her head. "I still get scared. My hands freeze." He looked into her eyes. "I'll be right here." The room was quiet. The elderly barely moved, their eyes blank, their memories faded. Something inside Mi Kyung shifted. She stepped toward the piano, sat down, took a breath. Her fingers hovered above the keys, trembled, and then settled. With Sok Chol sitting beside her, she began to play. The notes were soft, shaky at first, but then stronger. Her voice followed, warm, hopeful. The past may have scared her, but here, in this moment, with people who needed music more than applause, she sang. And slowly, her fear melted away. Back at the hospital, Sok Hee walked into the examination room where a patient named Go Jong Nim was being treated. Her heart beat faster the moment she recognized the woman. She stepped closer. "Don't you remember me?" she asked, her voice firm. "You're my brother's friend, aren't you? You used to sit with him all day on that blue tarp gambling." Go Jong Nim turned away, silent. You hurt your back from sitting too long, remember? Sok-hee continued, so focused on the game you didn't even stretch. You always called my brother lucky, before everything fell apart. There was a long pause. Then Sok-hee gently wheeled her out of the room. Once they were alone, she leaned in. Where is he? Where's my sister-in-law, the one who left her child behind? Go Jong-nim avoided her gaze. But deep down, she knew Sok-hee wouldn't stop until she got the truth. He's working again, Go Jong-nim finally said. Same old place. You'll find him there. Meanwhile, after dropping Mi Kyung off at home, Sok-chul was about to rest when his phone rang. It was Sok-hee. I know where she is, she said urgently. That woman, she told me everything. Without hesitation, Sok-chul turned the car around and raced to pick up his sister. Together, they headed straight to the location Go Jong-nim had given them. The place was an old, half-hidden building, one of those underground gambling spots with barely any signs, just whispers and secrets. Inside, it was noisy, crowded, and dangerous. But first, there was a problem. A guard stood firmly outside, suspicious of anyone who came near. Sok-chul parked at a distance. We need to get in without alerting anyone, he said. Sok-hee nodded, then grabbed her bag and walked toward the entrance alone. I'd like to play, she told the guard casually. I haven't gambled in years. Just a few rounds. The guard blinked, skeptical, but her calm demeanor fooled him. Just as he was about to unlock the door, a shadow moved behind him. Sok-chul struck. He covered the guard's mouth, pulled him back, and they both slipped inside while the man slumped silently. Inside, the place was buzzing with voices, cards being shuffled, and money changing hands. The smell of smoke and sweat hung in the air. Then they saw him, their older brother. He was dealing cards at one of the tables, his face expressionless, much thinner than they remembered. His once fiery eyes now looked tired, distant. Hung, Sok-chul shouted. The brother looked up in shock. And then, chaos. The owner of the gambling den came rushing over, angry. Who are you people? Family, Sok-hee said firmly. And we're taking him home. You think this is a joke? He works for us now. You don't just take someone out. The guard, now back on his feet, stormed in. A brawl broke out. Fists flew. Sok-chul fought fiercely, blocking a hit meant for Sok-hee. She, in turn, grabbed a chair and shoved it between her brother and the owner, shielding him from a cruel slap.